production on. Very frustrating.
I always get confused of why the intro music stopped, and now I realize because the intro music isn't long enough as the intro itself, so I need to go fix that. But whatever, you don't need to hear that. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Vanguard. It's Vinecast. It's a lot of Vine stuff going on in my head. I'm already messing this up, but whatever. My name is Elliot Barr. Joining me on the show this week is Matt, Shanair, and Kate. Guys, much like how I started off on this show, kind of the air is kind of seeping out of the balloon on the Vine season so far, right? It kind of feels that way.
Yeah, tough run in.
Yeah. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like this team is, if they have their full starting 11, they are really good. But if they run into a team who more or less has one or two pro players on it, you kind of see the inexperience from this side.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And it's just been a very, very up and down season. Started off the season with 2 good wins, and then it's just a roller coaster ride since then. I'm just hoping to finally come across a Vinecast episode where we're not talking about a win and a loss.
Yeah, the early thoughts of a
be careful what you ask for.
That is true. I'd like to come away with when we're talking about 2 games with 4 points or more.
Yeah.
No draws yet this season.
Yeah, not a single one.
Hey, either we winning or we losing, but we don't draw. I love that about us. Can't be like all gas, no breaks.
Yeah.
It's like a draw? Nah, we got to lose. Nah, we can't have that.
I mean, literally every single game has been first team to score wins.
Pretty much.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
All or nothing.
Yeah. So, all right. So we got 2 games to talk about, Production and Eagle. I think, and I'm pretty sure you guys are cool with this, I think the best way to summarize both of these 2 games, and we can talk about it as a whole, is one, Ivy struggled with build-up play. Like in the Production game, I saw that a lot, and obviously the Eagle game. It's pretty much like if you give the ball to Ivy, and which I was surprised Production didn't do, because let's start off with there. They only had 9 people on the field to start off with.
Yeah.
No, what was it? Technically 8, and then it was 9 because the player showed up late.
It was 9, then 10.
There we go.
They played and then a player got injured, like kind of a little halfway through the second half, so they ended with 9 too.
All right, so there we go with that. But it felt okay. Granted, the scoreline was the scoreline what it was. It was 8. I think it was 8-0.
Yeah,
8-0.
Like it should have been a lot more earlier, but it just felt like a lot of the time it was like as soon as Ivy got the ball, it was go long. Like it was like the same play over and over again. It was either offsides or we would get in front of goal, take a shot, the goalkeeper would save it. But it just felt like if the Ivy would hold on to the ball, it kind of just pulled them apart. When it's up 2-3-0, it felt like the score could have been more than what it was.
I think that reason, and also finishing is an issue because we had.
That's crazy to say. Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. With a score of 8-0, like it easily, and I know you guys saw I put in the WhatsApp. It easily could have been 20-0, easily, because we created so many chances, wide open chances, and completely either missed the target or kicked it right at the goalkeeper. We seriously made the Production goalkeeper look like a professional, like a top level professional goalkeeper. She had so many saves when we had no business giving her that many saves. that is the thing that frustrated me the most about the Pistolson game is, yeah, we won the game 8-0. Yeah, we got a shutout. Yeah, it was an easy win, but it should have been way easier. It should have been, each one of our front three should have had at least 3 or 4 goals each. Cam missed quite a few chances. I know Sarah had a couple of situations where she should have shot and she decides to pass to someone who's at a much tougher angle than she is to expect them to shoot. It was just a lot of situations where it was like that final third productivity, clinical finishing. They just missed that killer touch, that killer finish. And once we can get that down, I think the team will be able to do a lot better, because when you can clinically finish, not only does that put certain things in the minds of your opponent, but it also sets you at ease knowing that if you are given opportunities, a few of them are going to go in. But when we're going through probably a good 10-minute span in the game where we probably had about 13 or 14 chances and we missed all of them. It's a little worrying to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree in that. I think when you watch them a lot, like they're good in possession, like, and especially when the other team is stepping off them, so there's not much pressure on the ball. But for some reason, the final third, I don't know if it's because there has been so much. There actually hasn't been as much rotation in the final third as we've mostly seen a front three of Kana, Maddie Vincent, Taylor Berry, Kendall Sarver, the 4 of them sort of playing a lot. So there hasn't been as much rotation as maybe in some of the other parts of the field, but there just doesn't seem to be that much chemistry. Like when the crosses come in, there's no one in the middle of the box, or when the buildup plays through the middle, they get pulled out to the side too far. I don't know. It's like, I think they possess the ball well, but it sometimes feels like to no purpose. And so when they're playing against a team that gives them chances and they can take lower quality shots, like they're going to score a goal or 2. But like, I haven't seen them necessarily like slice back lines apart or quality back lines apart or create many good chances against the better teams in the division.
All right. So Matt, you will get this analogy. Like, the Richmond Ivy right now are like a John Calipari's Kentucky, where it's like all gas, no brakes. Like it's fast break, like it's go, go, go. But as soon as you put that Kentucky team in like half court, it's like they can't operate. It's like something doesn't work, right? And that's the thing about this Ivy team. Like, don't get me wrong, like it's hard. I know it sounds weird for us picking apart like an 8-0 win, but it is like, this is the next up for this team for next season for them to, make that push to the playoffs. Because right now, I think it's what Lancaster and Eagle are the top 2. So this is the next step for Ivy to take for next year to be in that top 2. Whereas like teams against like Production or Christos or Virginia Marauders, like we're able to sit there and pull them apart when we aren't able to get the space in behind and make one-on-ones. Like if that is this team's go-to, that's cool, fine, don't change that. But they should be able to, when plan A isn't working, they should be able to go to plan B and it works. Instead of us looking like kind of deer caught in headlights somewhat, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, part of me thinks you can't judge anything out of this game because they're playing a team that, I mean, let's be honest, shouldn't be allowed in this league.
No.
I mean, right now they've played
They're
8
just filling the numbers.
Yeah. After 8 games, any of you all happen to know what their goal difference is?
Oh,
yeah, negative 71.
71?
Yeah. And they've scored a couple goals, so they've given up 74 goals in 8 games. I'm sorry, that is not, a competitive team that needs to be in a league like this. Like,
And it was the same last season. So they already had this problem last season. Their players were already put in the position last season. And so the fact that it seems to be worse is also, it means like where changes, at the club. I think it's a pretty small operation. I think it's maybe sort of one guy. It's like his club, and so it's obviously not a very big operation, but it's sad to see it. This isn't like out of the blue. This clearly nothing meaningful changed from last season. So it's honestly really to watch,
right,
because
and there's levels to this too. Like Charlottesville, they're bad, right? They're also 0-8. They've only given up 26 and 8 goals in 8 games. Like that's still like great, but you're looking at what
and
is that?
5 of those were against the Ivy. So
Exactly.
6 against the
6
Ivy.
of them. Yeah, 6 of them.
Right.
You take one game out of that.
That's a respectable bad team.
Yeah.
Like
You take one game.
Yeah, you can. With even something like that, you can at least be able to figure the team is getting something out of it. The opponents are getting a reasonable match, one that they should expect to win every single time, but not something that's just a joke and a walkover like most of these Patuxent games have been. So I hear what y'all are saying, but the players going into a game like that too, especially knowing a much more important game's coming a couple days later, probably half thinking, all right, cool, let me try to maybe get mine, and more importantly, not get hurt.
This is the game I needed Cameron to like make my prediction come true, and she did it. And so I don't know if I needed. Yeah, she got one, but I need to like hand deliver her like some Jamaican food or something to make up for this prediction, because it's not looking good for me. All right, Kate. So the Eagle game. Can you explain to me like what is Eagle? Because I don't know how to describe them as a team. Like they're a weird team to describe.
So apparently there's like some UFC fighter who like randomly goes around investing in like sports clubs like around the country or like around the world or something. And allegedly Eagle is like one of the clubs that he has invested in. I could even put this live on the air. But
Elliot, because I know what you're thinking right now. Which UFC guy would make you the happiest if it was?
You knew exactly what I was thinking. I'm going to the list of you, trying to think like which UFC fighter would randomly invest in a League 2 team.
Go for like Junior Dos Santos, like a Triple G.
Right?
Yep.
Like imagine Nick Dos Santos like, yeah, I'm gonna put my money there.
Like really? That's your choice?
Bro, nah, man. I got a funny joke when we do the Kickers podcast, but I'm gonna save it for this. But oh man, yeah, no, like what? So Alexa was watching this game with me, and she was like, "Hold on, wait, they're playing at a middle school?" So and I had to explain to her like it's pre-professional, like So she was like, "Can they serve alcohol?" I was like, "Probably not because it's a middle school." And she was like, "So are the Ivy playing against middle school students?" I was like, "No, these are like pre-professionals, so they're like professionals, but they probably are getting paid." She was like, "So our art players going to play it?" And, it was just I had to explain to her the whole thing while that was happening. Eagle out of nowhere like scored, and then I'm like, the air is getting let out of the balloon, and I can feel the playoff line slowly slipping away from us.
Yeah.
They are sponsored by Adidas, which is pretty good.
All right. I don't even know. Patuxent was sponsored by it, but that doesn't matter.
But
so, like,
to give them some credit, though, like they're playing at middle school, but they put together, broadcasts with an actual play-by-play guy. I mean, what great, but I've heard a lot worse other places. Single camera, and the camera certainly fighting against the sun a lot in the second half. Like I don't understand how the sun makes the camera look like it's like shattered windshield all of a sudden. Like that mechanic just doesn't make sense to me. But the score bug, easy to follow. Can't necessarily do anything about where the sun happened to be, and even when the announcers kind of complained, like, why didn't we just start at like 7 o'clock so the sun wouldn't be in the way quite as much? Like that was, I got some amusement out of him opining openly about that mid game.
Mhm.
But
He seems,
those two Pennsylvania teams that are top of the division, like they're showing quality on and off the field.
Where are they in Pennsylvania? Like, where is Eagles?
Mechanicsburg.
Oh yeah, that's not a real place.
That's somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. To be honest with you,
it's in the middle.
It sounds like a place where the Amish turn butter.
No, not quite that bad.
Probably, because to be honest with you, I mean, Lancaster, PA, that's Amish country. I don't know how close to.
Mechanicsburg's, I don't know if you're a big geography nerd. It's like near where 83 and 76 and 81 all intersect, like just outside Harrisburg.
Okay, just outside the capital.
It's called Google Maps. I had to look that up.
Matt knows his highways.
Yeah.
I know how to type in Mechanicsburg, PA, and into Apple Maps and have it tell me where it is.
You can show me that on the map, and I still won't believe you. That's a real place.
Yeah, it's probably about halfway. It's about literally almost the midpoint between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia.
The middle.
Probably a little bit closer to Philly, but not by much.
Well, as soon as the Ivy returned back from their trip from Magical Place, and now it just seems as if like what, we got a game this Friday and then next Friday. I mean, you got what, 3 games left, right?
3 left.
Yeah,
well, and they play Wednesday.
Yeah, they got Wednesday up in Baltimore.
Okay.
Which has been the best game in the season so far. The one down in City Stadium didn't go the right way, but there's been a lot of mismatches throughout the year, and that one was, I think, the most level throughout.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure, Kate, when you talked to Cammie after the Pedunction game, like, what was the vibe you was getting from her? Like, did it seem like everything was kind of riding on the Eagle game? And
everyone called it a big game this past weekend. They all said, we can't put too much stock in both our own performance and the performance of the opponent for this one. We just kind of take it as it is and move on to the next, which, to be fair, is their mindset for pretty much all the games. That's what they've always said, is they're not sort of taking any matchup for granted, and they're not taking any one performance for granted. But this one especially, they all said they had a really big game at the weekend. And to be fair, I think that was a little bit reflected in the starting lineup. I think this is pretty close, maybe minus Cam and the center backs, who we might see as the strongest 11. Issa Elavara continues her run of appearances out of position at center back, according to Mika. So I've been pretty impressed with her performance there. But yeah, this was definitely, I felt like this was the biggest litmus test of the season so far, just with Lancaster, because the subs bench was so shallow against Lancaster that didn't feel like Ivy had the ability to put in their strongest performance, but this was a pretty strong team that traveled both in the starting 11 and on the bench. So 2-0 against a team that's 8-0-1. I think that was a lot more respectable than maybe the Lancaster game might have made it seem it could have been. So
yeah,
and I thought they showed pretty well. Like, going behind 7th minute or something, not a great way to get started. And there's another one where, kind of story of the season, player gets behind and ends up with a one-on-one, leaves keeper of the day, in this case Hargrove, out to dry essentially. But the Ivy hit the crossbar at least twice in the game. In fairness, so did Eagle. Like, that ball was finding the posts like nobody's business all game long. But Lauren had at least one really, really good kick save, a couple other
Yeah.
Good stops as well. And Ivy, I think they had their chance. It's not like they were played off the field by any means. So I felt as good as you can feel about a loss in this scenario. Again, it's the where do the goals come from when they're not playing the bottom of the barrel.
All right.
Agreed. I think I was impressed. I did not watch it live, so rewatching it after seeing the score line. I also was glad to see it was a goal per half, which again against Eagle went to the national semifinals last year. Like, this is a good team, not just in this division, but across the W League as a whole, and clearly are on their way to playing similarly this season. So against a completely new team, players that have never en masse played together before, a goal, a half, and relatively similar goals, a ball, like one or two quick passes, a ball that either is over the top, splits the back line, and it's basically like a foot race, and the player just slots it past the keeper without too much pressure. I think they've conceded a lot of goals like that this season, so it feels like they're doing a pretty good job of stopping the ball in a lot of other types of buildups. Got fatal flaw, which is somehow not a lot of pace in the back line, or at least not a lot of pace in a direct foot race with a through ball. So it feels like an addressable problem.
All right. Well, so we got these 3 games coming up. How should fans view the rest of the season? Like, is it pretty much just like, all right, well, it's year 1. It was a decent year so far. Like, I'm pretty sure we'll do a full season wrap up. Wow. I'm pretty sure we'll do a full season wrap up when we get to that time period. But like right now, how should fans kind of look at these next 3 games?
I think there's a lot of potential in these ones because, again, it's Lancaster and Eagle at home, which means we ideally, in a perfect world, will have our max player availability. I would hope that the players make themselves available for this one, maybe in ways that the other ones haven't been as needed quite so much. I would like to see what Kimmy sees as the best starting 11. One of the things that I sort of had in my notes is I don't know if Kimmy is necessarily tracking her best 11 or if she's trying to design a squad where the players are kind of able to switch in and out. And like the system allows for a lot of different players to play. So she's not necessarily thinking that she has one true best 11. But with this result being 2-0 and the Lancaster result in the context of 3 goals scored, it was a very tight first half against Lancaster. And then 3 goals were scored after 3 high school sophomores came on and a very shallow bench. I think that these could be pretty good games. I'm not necessarily expecting Ivy to win either or both, but I think that they are a lot closer to this team than maybe a lot of the other results have shown just based on player availability for both the home teams and the away teams. The main issue is if they can score goals.
Yeah, I think you go into it, have fun, right? We have, now we're recording, I think, 11 days left in the season. Yeah, there might be like a small mathematical chance they could still qualify for the playoffs, but I'm not counting on that right now. So go out there, have fun, enjoy the environment, especially the last 2 at home, and be able to take it in. And like I said, just enjoy, kind of reflect on the first year of this experiment, and get excited, put in early renewal for year 2.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask each year out of this. What's the one thing you're looking for out of the next 3 games that show you progress? Like to show you, like, hey, next year this team. Or let me rephrase that. What's the one that you're looking from Coach K in these next 3 games that show you, like, all right, she's the right one at the helm, if that makes sense? Like, if she's the one that can push this team to the next level. I guess I'm trying to ask.
I think for me, it would be continuing in the same vein in terms of ball retention, moving the ball around in the midfield, and building off of that. So if for these 3 games she doesn't try to change anything, she tries to continue to play through the midfield and spray the ball out wide when we can create that space, but being possession dominant, I think that's a good season because that's one of the tougher things to develop. So if we already started off with that, we show that we can keep the ball, we can move the ball around. Um, the technical ability overall for this team is very good. So like moving the ball around, getting good first touches has been very good. We have another year to work on the finishing, and to be honest with you, I think that's what would change us from being where we are now to being deep, deep, deep into playoff contention. So yeah, for me, it's just as you were, just continue to possess the ball. Don't panic. Don't try and change anything too drastically. And then for next year, let's work on making sure that we can be more deadly in the final third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I think for me, it's I think more of the same. I really like the build up. I would like more players, I think, to consider taking a shot more often. I think a lot of times because they play such a possession based system, like sometimes it does look like their first instinct is to look for this pass, maybe rather than taking an opportunity. One thing I saw in this game is I really felt like Sarah Flamia, I saw her take more shots in this game. I don't know if it's because she just scored in the last one, but especially by the last 30 minutes, she was taking a lot of shots. She typically is our most creative midfielder, the most the link between the two, the defense and the forward. She's the one who's making the most happen. But she hasn't unlike Kana makes a lot happen, but Kana often makes a lot happen for herself. Like she getting into a good position to take a shot, or she is on a run and slotting the ball home. Sarah makes a lot happen for other people, but I haven't necessarily seen her maybe take her opportunities as often as she could have. She seemed like she did that a lot in this one. So a player like Sarah, who's suddenly like, oh, I don't have to make it. I don't have to look for a pass. I could take that shot myself. I think that bodes well. She scored a great goal against Patuxent, and she had a couple of really great shots, especially in the last half hour or so of the game against Eagle. So more Ivy players having that confidence to maybe take that, that goal that Maddie Vincent had against Charlottesville. Was that necessarily the most XG shot to take there? Maybe not, but you take that shot, you hit it low and hard, and you're going to beat the keeper more often than you might think. So I would hope that because the goals aren't necessarily coming through super intricate build-up play, or the crosses aren't connecting with someone in the box, just take your shots. Take them a bit earlier than you might think. Maybe take a shot you don't think might go in, because there's nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. See who has a little bit of that selfish in them and willing to go for it, because I don't think we're going to see anything out of Kimmy or anyone else that's really going to be reflective for next year without knowing what's really going to be the goal for next season. Is it just going to be a Richmond United alumni team still, in which case it's not going to look that different because how many more girls can really get folded in from that? Or are they going to want to try to recruit up a level? What are they going to get girls on the team that are going to be able to make themselves available for all 12 or however many games there are next season? Or is it going to be a situation where we'll have them this week, but maybe not this week, and maybe this week? So I think it's going to come down to the off season of what's the goal for this team, what's the purpose of the team. And it's not saying that it's wrong if they want to keep it to be a local local players plus local college players, that's okay. But I do think that'll also put a natural cap on what any coach would be able to accomplish, because if they keep it like that, like, do you see the brand name players like Kim come back, or if she's going to be trying to get ready for a pro contract, go to one of the big teams for a summer. So
all right, it seems like it's going to be interesting. Kate, anything else from you, homie, before we wrap up?
We haven't talked about keepers too much, but I wanted to shout out Lauren Hargrove. She really did make 2 huge saves in that game. It kept it 2-0, which I think is a very respectable scoreline. It would have been 4-0 without those shots, a lot less respectable, which I don't think would have reflected how well the Ivy played. So we haven't necessarily talked a lot about keeper performances because they either have absolutely nothing to do or they're conceding a lot of goals through just defense not quite being up to the task. So I thought Lauren had a really, really great game. She's played a lot this season, and I thought this showed why she might have edged Cameron and the other keepers out for that number 1, because she had some really great shot stopping in this one.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Lauren Hargrove. She loves our content, so shout out to her. She makes
Yeah.
Shout out to her. Shanae, anything else from you before we wrap up, sir?
Not too much more. I just can't reiterate enough how big this has been for the city of Richmond and for girls soccer here in the Central Virginia area. Just the energy that people bring when they go to these Ivy games. I don't think, watching a lot of the away games, I don't see that level of energy coming from any other venue.
No.
And that is something to be proud of. I just hope that it stays that way year after year. Richmond Ivy support is big, loud, and proud at City Stadium.
Yeah, 100%. Matt, anything from you, my good man?
No, I think we have back-to-back Friday games. I think they are.
Yep.
Finish off. Better way to start a weekend. Coming up for the next couple of weeks. Go out to City Stadium. Enjoy some pretty decent level soccer. And whatever you do the rest of your Friday night into Saturday, Sunday, you started strong.
There you go. That's the positive. And lastly, I should have let out with this, but happy Father's Day to everyone. Even if you take care of a kid or not, happy Father's Day. Also, Wednesday is Juneteenth, Black People Liberation Day. So if you see a Black person, say thank you. Everything's better with us. Just want to say that. All right. That's pretty much it. Yeah, like Matt said, there's a game Friday. Go out, enjoy the game. Oh, my fault. It's a game Wednesday, right?
Yeah, that's away though.
Yes, away game Wednesday.
So let's hope for a win for the Black people and a win for the Ivy, and then roll it into Friday, and then next Friday. So yay! All right. With that being said, folks, we just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day for listening to our podcast. If you so inclined, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And yeah. With that being said, we'll be there. I'll be there at the game Friday. Matt, will you be there?
Hopefully, depending on what the I-95 gods have to say about it.
Oh, yeah, you got it. That's probably a no. Shanae, what about you? You'll be there?
No, I will be out of town.
Oh, that's right. All right. Kate, you're going to some concert?
No, I am in Albany, New York for the next 2 weeks. So I'm missing the last 2 Ivy home games. So I'm sad, but I had a great last press conference with Kimmy and got to talk to Cam, Hannah, and
all right. So
sorry. I finished off my season strong.
I'm doing something myself. Fine, cool, great. Well, folks, if you see me at the stadium, just give me a thumbs up, and yeah. So with that being said, well, I'll let you guys next week. Be easy and be safe.